There is only one presence and one power active within me and throughout the universe. God, the good, omnipotent.
Hello, and welcome to our podcast. This is Unity Church of Chatsworth. Our spiritual leader, Reverend John Washington, and I am Michelle Washington, RN, pastoral nurse.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. From the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verse 7, again paraphrasing. And she, Mary, brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them at the inn. And so it is. Amen.
From the Revealing Word by Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity. The metaphysical meaning of joy. Joy, the happiness of God expressed through God's perfect idea, humankind. Joy and gladness are strength-giving, especially if the mind is fixed on things of the Spirit. What do you call an elf wearing earmuffs? Anything you want. He can't hear you through the earmuffs.
From the New Testament book of James, chapter 1, verse 2. Again, paraphrasing or rephrasing. My brothers and sisters, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. Mary, when it says she bore her firstborn and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger.
Yes.
Now, again, we know these stories, and we know the part that says because there was no room in the inn. And yet a dear one actually phrased that different for me at least 10 years ago on Michelle, and it had impact. The expression was, do you have in you room for this story? Do you have room in, I'm going to say, the intellectual mind, or the mind of, I'm going to call it high finance? And to have a story like this, it maybe is so, I'm going to call it almost melodramatic, Michelle, that again, a mother had a child and wrapped him in these, what's that word, swaddling clothes or clothing, and laid the child in a trough.
Yes.
And so again, as I breathe in that thought or that idea or that concept, that comparison, again, it sounds like poetry. And it sounds, again, I use the term melodramatic or overly melodramatic. But how does that sit with you, Michelle?
Well, I like your statement, in you. Do you have in you room for the story? The story is, for me, the Christmas story is about overcoming whatever comes in our way.
It is not I, but the Christ within who does the work.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Have a blessed week.